Hey, welcome. So let's just jump right in. We use simple words all day, every day, and we never really give them a second thought. But what if I told you that behind some of the most basic words in our language, there's this hidden world of complexity, a place where logicians and psychologists are actually fighting over what these words truly mean? Today, we're diving into the secret life of the words we use to count things.
Okay, take a sentence like this. Some cars are red. Seems pretty simple, right? But what does some actually mean here? Does it mean at least one, but not all of them? Does it mean a couple? Maybe a good number of them? This one little word, some, is really just the tip of a massive iceberg.
And that's really the heart of what we're talking about today. On the one hand, these words feel simple, totally direct. We just use them. But on the other hand, for the people who study this stuff for a living, they're an incredibly complex puzzle. It's like we're looking at two totally different worlds trying to make sense of the very same word.
So let's start in that first world, the world of logic. Now, in this world, the whole goal is to find order, to create these really clear, precise, almost mathematical rules for how our words are supposed to behave.
A huge tool they use for this is called generalized quantifier theory. And I know, the name sounds a little intense, but don't worry about it. The basic idea is just to treat words like most, few, or some as if they're these formal operators, almost like a plus or minus sign in math. Each one has a very specific job to do and a really strict set of rules it's got to follow.
To build up this world of order, logicians look for key properties. But let's just focus on one of them for a second, a property called conservativity, because it's such a perfect example of this way of thinking. You see, a word that's conservative is incredibly focused.
For instance, if you say, most students are smart, the word most is only interested in one group, students. That's it. It doesn't give a thought to the teachers, or the principal, or anybody else who might be around. It just sticks to its subject.
And that right there shows you the whole logical approach in a nutshell. Most has this laser focus. For the purpose of that sentence, the rest of the universe might as well just not exist. And what's really amazing is that this property, conservativity, seems to be a universal feature of these words in all human languages. It's a rule that language just seems to follow, no matter where you go.
And you know what? Some words are just perfect citizens in this logical world. The classics, like all and some. They fit perfectly into these neat little boxes. They follow all the rules, their meaning never changes, and they make logicians very, very happy. But not all words are quite so well behaved.
Which brings us to the rebel, the troublemaker, the word that just smashes all these nice, neat rules, the word many. Many just refuses to conform to this strict logical world. And believe me, it causes all kinds of headaches.
To see why, let's just do a quick thought experiment. Picture a cookie in your mind. Okay, now picture many ants on that cookie. You got a picture? You're probably thinking, what, 10 ants? 15? Yeah, that feels like many for one cookie.
All right, now forget the cookie. Picture an entire kitchen. And I tell you there are many ants in that kitchen. Are you still picturing 15 ants? No way, right? Now, many probably means hundreds, maybe even thousands of them. The word itself didn't change at all, but its meaning just completely transformed.
And that's the whole problem right there. The meaning of many isn't fixed, it's vague, and it is completely dependent on our expectations for whatever context we're in. 10 ants can be many in one situation and not many at all in another. And for a system of pure logic that needs stable, universal rules, well, that's a total nightmare. So, to really get a handle on a word like many, we have to pack our bags and leave that clean, orderly world of logic and step into a different world, a much messier world, the world of the human mind. Because, as it turns out, our brains are perfectly fine with all this vagueness.
You see, our brains don't really operate like some logic textbook, checking off a list of conditions to see if something is true. No, research shows our minds reason probabilistically. We're constantly making our best guess based on what's likely and what makes sense in the moment. We're not looking for some absolute logical truth. We're just looking for a good enough interpretation that works right now.
And what's wild is just how much is happening under the hood. To understand a word like many, your brain is juggling the immediate context. Are we talking about a cookie or a kitchen? It's comparing that to these mental best examples you have stored away. And it's even tapping into this deep intuitive number sense that we all have. So in just a fraction of a second, the process looks something like this. You hear the word many. Your brain instantly scans the context. It then pulls up a kind of mental model, a prototype of what many should look like in this situation. And based on that quick comparison, it lands on a working meaning. It's fluid, it's lightning fast, and it's incredibly efficient. So where does all this leave us? We've got this rigid, rule-based world of logic on one side, and the flexible, context-based world of the mind on the other. And it turns out, you really can't have one without the other. To get the whole story, you've got to bring these two worlds together.
And this contrast, right here, this is the whole story. On one side, logic gives us this ideal, a world of precise, universal rules that form the hidden skeleton of language. But on the other side, our mind gives us reality, a world where meaning is kind of vague, context is everything, and our brains are just constantly making these little probabilistic bets to figure out what we mean.
At the end of the day, you really need both of these perspectives. Logic provides that deep, fundamental structure, those elegant, universal building blocks. But psychology is what explains how we, as these messy, brilliant humans, actually take that structure and put it to work in the real world.
And that leaves us with one last kind of mind-blowing thought. We've just seen the incredible complexity hiding inside words we use all the time without thinking. So if our absolute simplest words are built on this amazing dance between strict logic and flexible psychology, how in the world do we ever actually manage to understand each other at all? It really is a small miracle of communication, happening millions of times every single day.